Hello and welcome to Dishonored. This is a pointing episode. Some of you might be thinking, what the hell is a pointing episode? Most of you probably know what it is anyway, though. Basically, pointing is something that I call where I go through collecting collectibles or things that aren't really relative to the main plot or something along those lines. Although in this case, for Dishonored, we'll strictly do it for Dishonored. In this case, it's just me reading books that I've collected from the main game. I didn't really want to read them in that playthrough because I don't want to distract from the exciting, thrilling time of looting and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm putting it in this video called Pointing. Whole history about pointing through Assassin's Creed, where I collect the collectibles in that. It's like viewpoints. I collect the viewpoints in pointing. That's why it came about with pointing. Plus, I also talk about pointless things. So it's pointless and pointing. Yeah, whole history about it. But yeah, basically, what I'm doing today is I'm going to be reading through these books that we've got. We've got quite a few. So we're going to go through them, read them off. They're not really relative to what we've seen in the playthrough. If they were, I would have put them in there. But they might have some sort of hidden meaning that we don't know about yet, but obviously it'd be nice to get in. But if you don't want to listen to me reading the books, I'm just going to read them like an audio diary format. If you don't want to listen to me reading them, you don't have to watch this. You can skip on to the next episode. But if you're still here, you are now a honorary pointer. Welcome, pointers. We'll get on in a second. I've just got one question to ask you first. So I'm trying to revamp my videos, make them better for everything. And I had the idea that maybe pointing, because I would clearly label it as pointing and know that it's different from the main playthrough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away the episode number. This is not an actual episode. I'm going to just call it Dishonored, Pointing, and the title will be whatever location we're at. So we've done Lab and Distillery, because that is the books that we've got today from those different areas which we've seen in the last two episodes of Dishonored. Let me know if you like that idea, because I think that would be alright, because that's sort of what I want to go for. Like, I want it to be different. I want people to know it's different. Want them to know that they don't have to watch this. So I'm going to do that. But let me know what you think, because obviously I like your input. So let me know how it goes. Anyway, we've had enough rambling. Again, pointless. Do what I want. Let's talk through these books then, shall we? I'll read them off. Okay then. So we've got a few. Let's start with this first one, which is just here. This is Timeless Children's Rhymes, excerpt from a set of cautionary tales for children. They say that Jimmy Wilcott Riley was a brawler he mates called Smiley. He ran around up and down town, pulling off every kind of crimey. On Bottle Street he hung with the boys, throwing bricks and bottles and other toys. They'd start a fight, then run and hide, breaking laughing far and wide. Smiley liked to eat and drink all day, and smash one bash the night away. Drunk and all alone, he drifted off for sleeping, sitting on the bridge along John Clavering. When he woke, something strange he found, stronger than a singing wolfhound. He became a blue-jawed, hag-fished most Smiley, and only remembered his name was Smiley. They say that Jimmy Whitcomb Riley was never seen again for all of timey, but he swam around up and down, drinking from the river, crying, "Why me?" Ooh, interesting. Right, next one is this one, which is, what's that say? I'm trying to read my books. Mott Journal. Mother's Journal. Here it is. It's just down there. It's actually before that one. Cool. Mother's Journal. This was taken from that little room that I pointed out in the actual episodes. There were some dead children in there, or dead people in the rags, and obviously it was boarded off. So this is the book we got from that, and I think it explains that. Mother's Journal, 8th entry. It's the 4th day of the month of rain. Morris is sick, and so are the children. I've avoided it thus far, which is good fortune, since it has fallen on me to care for them. 9th entry. The city watch comes and goes, knocking on doors and asking for signs of plague. Even our neighbours cannot be trusted. Earlier, it was difficult to keep the children quiet. Now they sleep most of the time. 10th entry. The flies have set in. I try to keep them away, but I can barely get close. They sting so. Most of the time, Morris won't answer me when I try to talk to him from across the room. 11th entry. Morris is gone. I don't know what I'll do, for now all my hope is reserved for the children, leaving the flat for a while near dawn. I found some plague bags from the guard booth while no one was around. It took a while, but I got Morris inside one of the bags. At least his face is covered. 12th entry. Young Robert has passed. The star of my sky is gone. Page missing. 16th entry. 17th entry. Elise stopped breathing in the middle of the night. She was such a headstrong girl. I can barely believe she was overcome. She was always near as I cut hagfish or vegetables, arguing with me about everything. 18th entry. It is the 4th day of the month of wind. It has settled in that they are lost to me, all of them. I cannot bring myself to call the dead counter. 19th entry. I have the fever now. No guards come near anymore. It's really sad, really, when you think about it. It's such a dark game, which you don't see. Right then, next one is the Leviathan's Sorrow. Excerpt from a report on a treatised ban by the Rodshaw Trade Council. Little is known of Pocotti, credited with this series of pamphlets arguing against the whaling trade. While he is gifted, his views are nonsense and threaten the economic underpinnings of the empire. 01. Enslavement. On the breeding and husbanding of whales versus hunting of the breeds in the wild. After a natural and free life cycle, Pocotti offers no solutions for where these massive, malevolent creatures might be pastured. Number 2. Dissolution. Laments on the destruction of social bonds between herd members. Pocotti actually uses the term families. 3. Harmony. Drivel on the authentic wonder of what is, in reality, the great and terrible ocean that ever threatens to swallow us, inclines arguments on the gentle nature of the brutes, a notion refuted by seamen who return to shore wide-eyed with tales of the whale's savagery. 4. Disruption. Here Pocotti is on the weakest footing, issuing up feverish warnings against the displacement or transference of natural beasts from their natural environments. Cool. Right, next one. Is the rat plague. Excerpt from a natural philosopher's notes. For over a year I have studied this curious plague, collecting and discerning rats by the thousands. Given their rapid gestation and maturation cycle, it has been possible to breed them for numerous generations. The rodents themselves seem immune to the plague, but they pass it readily between members of their own species, perhaps through mites. The blood of the rats tells its own story, allowing me to gauge the number of generations that a given group of rats have lived with the plague. As such, a nagging question remains. The rats collected from the poorest parts of town in the slums exhibit the oldest strains of the plague, while these found near the docks, where the foreign plague-bearing rats would presumably have entered our city, exhibit a younger strain of plague. Could this mean that the rats were transmuted to the slums in some way that was not obvious? I will continue my research. If nothing else, I am living proof that Sokolov's elixir and Pierrot's remedy are very effective at protecting against the plague, if one consumes enough of the stuff. Yeah, I'll mention that in the actual episodes. Rat behaviour. This one, that is it. Rat behaviour and extermination. Excerpt from a series of interviews with street workers. By rat catcher Lena. Used to be, you'd go out with a bag, a stick and a nail at the end, and catch as many rats as you could in the night. The city watch paid by weight. My husband Benjamin and I mostly worked alone, and we got by. If we found a piece where the rats were real bad, sometimes we'd hire a crew of street brutes to work with us. The younger ones who didn't make trouble, we'd pay them with bread and apple cider. Once the plague came, the rats were different, meaner, bigger, and a little quicker. You had to watch yourself. If you got cornered, they'll turn out and the swarm would come back at you. I barely got away with my skin a few times down in the sewers. The bites hurt afterward, but it was the sounds they make that stayed in your dreams at night. It got more dangerous, and the city watch started playing better, but that didn't last long, because after a while too many people had been stripped clean, trying to fill up a bag. One slip, and they'd be all over you, gnawing and trying to chew down to the bone. That's how I lost my poor Benji. Uncle Benjamin! Where is he? Oh wait, no, they confirmed him, didn't they? I remember. They confirmed something about Uncle Benjamin from Game of Thrones. Okay, so what's next one? The third structure? I think there's actually a note, written notes. Yes, this one here. Yes, I need to read this first then. So this is Galvani's Academy Notice. Galvani, the latest case should arrive within a week, containing all the components you need.
Be careful with the white phosphorus. Can't have you getting facey, jaw like the tanners at the edge of the city. Poor buggers. Sorry, you'll have to practice in secret. The Viscontists should be celebrated, revered even. Cutting up rats should be done in a town square with a crowd of eager students taking notes, not in some dirty little secret room hidden behind our wall of books. Anyway, lucky for you, you have an old friend who never left the academy. Let me know what else you need, but remember, it might be a month before I can put together another shipment. Yours in knowledge, Artemis Moore. Procurement Clerk and Provisioner. Academy of Natural Philosophy, South Wing. P.S. Next time you're nearby, come in for an afternoon. We've stayed fairly isolated from the plague, since so few come and go here, and we've got quite the stock of Tivian brandy. Ooh, Tivian brandy.
Okay, what is next? It is the third stricture, I think, isn't it? The third... Yes, it is. Cool. How are we doing for time-wise? Does that bring up my... 11 minutes. Not too bad. Might be a bit of a short episode, but it doesn't really matter how long this is. Keep going till we're done. The third stricture. Excerpt from a work detailing one of the 7 strictures. Restrict the restless hands, which quickly become the workmates of the outsider, unfettered by honest labour. They rush to sordid gain, vain pursuits and deeds of violence. Of what value are the hands that steal and kill and destroy? Instead, put your hands to the plough, the fork, and the spade, for even the lowliest labour that is rigorous squeezes the muscles as a sponge, rising impurities from the mind and body. Avoid this one. Avoid the rat plague. Excerpt from a government protocol on disease practices. Much of the public still labours false beliefs resulting to the plague. It is not true that the bile from river crusts will protect against contraction of the disease, nor is it true that crushed moray orchids act as a remedy, though it is speculated that both of these ingredients are used in both Sokolov's elixir and Pierrot's remedy. Consumption of these products before exposure to the plague constitutes the only known means of resisting the disease. Further, the Abbey of the Everyman warns against superstitions practices. Not only is it inefficient to burn 2 hagfish and a cat together, inhaling the vapours while chanting the names of the plague dead, but it is also considered heresy by the overseers and will be met with a full measure of the Abbey's laws. Tell your neighbours and practice these things yourself. Avoid contact with the infected. Consume your ration of elixir daily, preferably in the morning, and report anyone suspected of carrying the plague. Anyone must work together to stop the spread of the dreaded contagion. Okay, what's next? Customs... this one. Cool. Customs and Food of Morley. Excerpt from a traveller's journal. Born and raised in Bristol, I spent my formative years in our smaller cities before settling in magnificent Dunwall. There, in the capital city, I learned to appreciate the finer things. When the opportunity arose to document my travels to Serconus, Tivia, and finally Morley, I left my position as a clerk for the late Lord Estamont. Perhaps, like so many in Dunwall, I suffer from being excessively cultured, but I found Morley disappointing. Over the course of this journal, I will explain why I found the Festival of Churders to be tiresome, despite the high banners, bare feet, and red robes, and why their renowned jewelled ox tongue is something I will struggle to forget for many years to come. That was a very short one. I thought it was going to be more to that. Right. I believe I've read this one. Yes, I have. I read that one, so I've read that in the actual pointing episode. Now, I thought I already read this one, but apparently I haven't, so let's read this now then. Travel to Pandasia. Excerpt from the Travel Chronicle by Anton Sokolov. The men I sat with are royal good sailors. No doubt half of them have cut their teeth on the rascally pirate ships spawned in the Circaman archipelago, or they were, I should say. Half of them died before we sighted the broken red cliffs, welcoming those who would visit the far continent. As it is called, sickness in fighting, poisoned by a school, or would one say a flock of small fish that fly over the waves like birds, landing in the hundreds across the deck, prickling any that touch the toxic quills. 2 thrown overboard by gusting demon winds, the quiet Tivian navigator simply dead in his bunk, wrapped in his white furs, eyes wide with terror. Few have crossed the ocean, and the distance to Pandasia is greater than most would imagine. More died climbing the cliffs, and now, with both but a handful I stand,
looking across the greatest expanse of land that exists. My allies are frightened, for this is beyond them, and now their captain is dead too, stung by something that resembled a prairie mole, but reacted with great apoplectic outrage when handled. So it falls to me to lead them. Cool, is this the last one? It is, Elixir. The Elixir Black Market. Excerpt from a letter. We've seen widespread looting across the month of clans. It wasn't prevalent at first, but it's a pattern now. There's an outbreak in one of the districts, and the watch moves in. We quarantine buildings, put down weepers, and depart anyone showing any surly signs. Afterward, the dead counters come through, and the lawyers write up the paperwork to transfer ownership of businesses and homes at Parliament's discretion. Soon after, like clockwork, the gangs begin tearing the place apart. There's a fairly robust black market now, because everyone wants Elixir and most can't afford it. Even Sokolov's brand won't help you if you've already got the plague, but getting a regular dose is your best chance if you want to avoid contracting it. Some of the gangs have taken to buying small amounts of watering it down before selling it, and I have to admit, if I didn't have an officer's ration, I'll be buying from them. General Corre, City Watch, 3rd Regiment, Estate District. Cool. Don't do that. Yeah, that's all the books done then. So yeah, this is what point is going to be from now on then. Let me know what you think about the removal of the episode number and calling it straight pointing. Let me know how it goes, because that's what I want to know. But that is it for now. I'll catch you in the next pointing episode, or the main proper things next time. But yeah, we'll probably do pointing from now on, because I think, we had about 11 minutes of books. Is that how long we've been going for? 50 minutes worth of books. That's quite a lot. That's enough to constitute a pointing episode. All right then. I'll see you later in the next adventure of Dishonored, where we'll probably hopefully find more books. See you later, pointers.